What's up, guys? This is Andrew, and today I'm bringing you an audio review. And today specifically, we'll be talking Schiit. And what I mean by that is we'll be recovering the Schiit Heresy, the Schiit Magni 3 Plus, and the Schiit Magni 3. I have them a little out of order, but that's what happens. Anyhow, let's move on and get right into it. Starting off, you'll notice these devices look very similar, and that's because Schiit has maintained their general design and structure for all of these devices, to the point that the Schiit Magni 3 and the Magni 3 Plus look almost identical. Actually, the only way you can tell is by a little indicator light over here that goes on when they're powered. And one thing, just right off the bat, they got rid of the indicator light on the 3 Plus, and they had it on the 3. I'm not sure why they did that. I like the indicator light knowing that it's on, in case you step away, you come back, you kind of forget, but they axed that, and it is no longer on the Heresy or the 3 Plus. So that's one of the only ways you can tell the difference from the outside, aside from actually looking on the back and reading some small text. That actually made it quite easy to do some blind tests, but we'll get into that later. Actually, we'll get into that now. So, performance-wise, although they look very similar, performance is very different. So, first of all, a lot of people might wonder, is there really a big difference between the Schiit Magni 3 and the 3 Plus and the Heresy? And there could be a lot of questions whether it's worth it to upgrade, or whether someone just starting out could buy a cheap Schiit Magni 3 and it'd be worth it, or if they should go and get a brand new Magni 3 Plus or Heresy. Now, we're going to kind of get into that a little later, but first, with performance, I'm going to dive right in and say there is a big difference. Now, there used to be a lot of distortion on the high gain of the Schiit Magni 3 when you really turned it up, but now I don't really find that on the Heresy and on the Magni 3 Plus. Of note is that they both measure much better than the Magni 3, and actually the Heresy measures a little better than the Magni 3 Plus, but more on that later. Overall, once you actually start pushing these amps, you can push the Heresy a lot further than you can push the Magni 3, and that really comes out when you talk about revealing headphones, and also less so revealing, but more harder to drive and higher impedance. I have these DT880s, 600 ohm, and these headphones were the ones that I noticed the biggest difference on when I jumped from the 3 to either the 3 Plus or the Heresy. I used other headphones, of course, like these Hyphemans over here and the HD6XX that's behind me, but these were the ones where I could tell the biggest difference. And part of that is because you had to drive them so far. With the knob, it used to have to go around 4 o'clock to really kind of get it where you want it to be, but then distortion kicks in. And with the Heresy, that was one of the easiest things I could tell, was that I didn't have to turn the knob even just all the way. To get the same volume, same loudness, I only had to go to maybe 1 o'clock, where on the Magni 3, I would have had to go to 3 or 4. So that's a pretty big difference right there. And really the Heresy, well, the Heresy was the one I listened to a little earlier, before the Magni 3 Plus, but for both of them, they really bring out the DT880s, especially compared to the Magni 3. There definitely is an audible difference between the new Schiit amplifiers against the previous Magni. And I think in general, the new ones are leaps and bounds ahead of the old Magni 3. And really, that would be my advice to anyone just starting out, to just go and get either the Heresy or the Magni 3 Plus. I would not go for the Magni 3 anymore. A lot of times people think when something's old, there's a newer model, they can go on eBay and get a cheaper one for a little better deal. And usually that is true, but for some reason, the Schiit Magni 3 is still selling for a very nice price on eBay. I've seen prices anywhere between $90 shipped, up until $110, $115 shipped, which really doesn't make much sense to me, because you can buy a Heresy or a 3 Plus right from Schiit's website for $115. I know sometimes international buyers have a little issues there, but I'm seeing these on just the domestic US sales. And I gotta say, if you're looking to save maybe $10, I really would just pay the extra $10 and get the Heresy or the 3 Plus. I do think there's a big enough performance difference to justify that. And even at a $20 difference, and it keeps going, you know, if you can get a great deal on a 3 and you're not really sure if you want to dive into the hi-fi or more expensive audio, sure, go for a Magni 3. But I cannot advise going for a Magni 3 when they're selling for $100 on eBay, and these are $115 shipped depending on where you are. It just doesn't really make much sense to me, and the Heresy will do a lot more for you. And sometimes throughout this video I might have said the Heresy or just the 3 Plus, but usually I do mean both of them, especially when I'm comparing them to the Magni 3. I think there's a big sound difference between the regular Magni 3, which is still a terrific amp, but there's a big sound difference between the Magni 3 and the 3 Plus dash Heresy. Now, between the Heresy and the 3 Plus, that's much similar, much closer, and I know the Heresy measures a little better, but for my ears, it's very hard to tell any differences. I can't tell you what's placebo, I listen to a lot of things, especially on the DT880. I played a lot of different genres, and it is hard to really pinpoint any specific differences. For my money, I feel like the Heresy sounds a little better, but honestly, I cannot confirm that, and that could be very personal preference. I know some people think the Heresy works better with certain headphones, and then the 3 Plus works better with other headphones. For me, I'm not sure which of these two I'll probably keep going forward, because I did buy both of them. And I do have a black Modi over here, so maybe I'll keep the Heresy just for that. That's one of the main differences between the two, and since most people can't really tell the difference, honestly, I might just go to whichever one matches your style a little more. If you like the black aesthetic, then just go for the Heresy. If you like the silver aesthetic, go for the 3 Plus. Because honestly, I'm hard-pressed to really find any noticeable differences, and they cost the same amount of money, and really I think you'll be pleased with either of them. And so overall, that's my recommendation there. Skip out on the Magni 3 unless you can get an amazing deal. Go right for the 3 Plus or the Heresy. Alright guys, so if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're looking to see more audio reviews, more equipment, headphones, amplifier reviews, please consider subscribing to the channel. I have a lot more content coming soon, including a comparison of the Schiit stack versus the new stack from JDS Labs, the Atom stack now with their DAC. That'll be coming in the next few weeks, so if that interests you, please hit the subscribe button. And thank you for watching, and have a nice day.